Okay, welcome to our next Coaches Talk, where we explore various topics and answer your questions so that you get the most out of your running and training. And today we're going to talk about an important principle, the 80-20 principle, or Pareto's principle as it's officially known.
Yes, I've written in the training program, if you've read it, something about the 80-20 rule, which I like to follow when developing a training program. And I recommend training by the 80-20 rule, and I also recommend eating by the 80-20 rule. There are a lot of ways you can apply this 80-20 rule, and we'll start with talking a little bit about where it comes from. It's coming from the Pareto principle, which says 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or 80% of the results come from 20% of the work that you put in, right? Yep. So that's the idea. We also can apply this to running. And how do we apply it to running, Michael?
I think simply it's like if you saw one of our early videos where we talked about how we constructed the average week, for example, you saw in there that there was certain days that were heavy and certain days that were hard. And so across even just a week, we were doing maybe 20% of the workouts were high intensity, hard workouts. The other 80% was either active recovery or rest. So there, again, that's how one way we've structured it. Again, if you look at the whole training season, it's the same approach. We're working hard 20% of the time and then allowing ourselves to recover or maintaining for the other 80% as well. And
you were even talking about how you can apply that in a specific workout.
Correct, yeah. Like if you look at, for example, interval training, you might do a 40-minute interval training session, but you're not running at high intensity for the whole 40 minutes. You might only spend maybe 10 minutes or less running at high intensity. The rest of it is recovery or slower running. So you can see across the whole board that, like, no matter what time frame, we're still applying this same 80-20 principle.
Yeah, so the idea is that, well, we've taken some of this from the book 80-20 Running, which is by Matt Fitzgerald. If you haven't read it, it's a very good book to read. And he talks about how you can run stronger and race faster by training slower. So the training slower part is that 80%. 80% of the time, we're not training at our maximum. We're not training hard. We're training easy. And it's that 20% that we're working our hardest, right? We're giving our most effort only 20% of the time, and that's a little bit difficult for some people to do.
Yeah,
it's difficult to realize.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I looked at in my world, a lot of people that were marathon runners or were at least people that I consider to be fit and endurance athletes. Looking back now, they were doing the exact same training run every single day of the week. So they were consistently just doing the same activity every week, but yet their results were consistently always the same. And so it's this variety and variation in the program that helps certainly for me, get me the increased speed and endurance and stuff in my training. And I wasn't putting in as much effort. I managed to slow down my long runs, for example. So my long runs were slower, yet my speed was improving. And it's just how you use this principle.
Right. So the idea is that you're not spending all of your time doing stuff that's not going to get you the results that you want, right? You're being smarter about how you train.
Correct.
And also you're not stressing your body out by doing too much hard work all the time. So if we were 100 instead of 80-20, if we were 100% of the time training hard, or what's hard for our bodies, we'd burn out pretty quickly, right? And we wouldn't be seeing the results of improvement in our running. We'd see the opposite. We'd probably see ourselves regressing a little bit.
Correct. That's a good point.
Right. So that's the purpose of the 80-20 rule. Did we cover it all?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we looked at it during training, we looked at it across a week, across a season. And as you mentioned, it's like not just applied to running training, it's also like nutrition and our recovery, like across a whole range of different topics, the same principle applies.
Yes. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments and stay tuned for another video.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for joining us.